All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy. Welcome to episode 248 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Gill, admin on the FAQ message board. And no, we're not going to spend the first 10 minutes of this show bitching about other people and other shows and other locations because we're not losers or morons. So, anyone bought any cool shit this week before we get into a little bit of the news? Ken, got anything cool to show?
Yes, I got some cool stuff. One thing I got this week was issue number 2 of Kiss, the Kiss comic, The End on that one. I'm not going to get every issue. I usually just get the first couple.
Sure, you won't.
I will not. No, I will not. And then I had gotten this one earlier, beginning of the week, I think, or around over the weekend. And this is really, really good. They did a job on here.
And that for people who are listening, is the new classic rock magazine dedicated to Kiss. It's not just an article and a poster. Pretty much the whole shebang is about it, right?
Yeah, it's interviews and things throughout all the years that they've been doing this, and it's just a lot of good stuff, a lot of good pictures, and articles. There's stuff from the guys like our buddy Ken Sharp has a number of articles in there. I gotta show you something funny though. There's this one little picture showing the Dress to Kill. It says this thing here. It shows the different outfits, kind of in a cartoonish kind of format throughout the years, how they changed. Throughout the years, it's kind of.
I like how Peter morphed into a fox.
Oh yeah, so yeah, exactly. See how that? Well, what happened? So and then down here you got Vinny. Down here, Ace morphed into Vinny. You know,
morphed into warrior.
And yeah, so anyway, it's really good. I haven't read. I've been reading. Almost halfway through it. Just kind of reading it when I have a little time, and it's very enjoyable. Really good.
That's nice to know. I need to pick that up. Kind of knew that one was coming. Let's see what else is going on this week. I had forgotten to do the drawing for this, but I have now. Eric is the winner of the artist signed indie exclusive comic book, and that'll go out in the post to you tomorrow.
Very cool.
What other news? Yeah, the 40th anniversary of Dynasty. Is green vinyl is now available for order on Sound or Vision. I think Kiss Online's also doing a Sound.
What's wrong, Mark?
Huh? You're laughing at me.
I'm saying, what's wrong, Mark? He's shaking his head about that.
Well, the first album that I'm actually interested in actually purchasing, I go on the site and right away it says out of stock. Already, it went on 20 minutes ago.
Well, at least they're not trying the skid mark one again.
It's probably someone due to, they put in like a large amount. You put in a very large amount to try to see how many are left, in stock kind of thing. I bet you someone was doing that. It wasn't me, though.
Yeah, so that's available. The new Kiss.
Julian, you called that, by the way.
Did I? Green?
Actually, didn't we?
No, you called Dynasty would be the next one.
Oh, okay.
We didn't.
But you know what, though? I find this very ironic, though, that weren't we the ones that were always bitching about this, saying that Kiss don't do this? Is it possible that somebody within the camp finally started filtering our comments back to them, saying that, it might be a good idea to start doing these things because they hadn't done squat with these kind of things?
That might be the case, but come on. They're doing it too much. I mean, people have limited budgets to actually buy this shit, and now they're dumping it all on you. I mean, here cometh the flood. Bloody hell! I mean, the awards, the vinyl, $410 jean jackets painted by slave labor in Afghanistan. Yeah. So I think you have to move
on.
Yeah.
Good. I want to see it every episode.
You wanted me to show it. There it is.
Yeah, that's not going to show up. That's not centered. So Yeah, keep going. Yeah. All right, that's the only time that's as close as I'm going to get to one of those awards. Because I'm not buying any unless they do the Elder.
What kind of fan are you?
I'm not a
You're
fan.
a real Kiss fan.
I'm a hater. I'm a hate-filled cesspool of attitude
Wow.
personified. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. What else is for sale? No, I think that's it. That and the jean jacket were the newest things. I can't remember. Did we cover the cancellation of Vinny last week? Because he did cancel and he has refunded, and people are...
mentioned it.
Okay, well, people are still bitching about it, but Vinny refunded everyone because it was, of course, PayPal. And I haven't heard anything yet about what's going on with that, but whatever. Been listening to a lot of Vinny Vincent Invasion. I found I had a soundboard of the Invasion, and I've been enjoying the living shit out of the All Systems Go tour. So, fun stuff. Also been going back through the 86 stuff, trying to find where one track ends and the next one begins, because it's all blah, 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 blah. All right, so since it's the 40th anniversary of Dynasty today, we're going to talk about Unmasked.
That's right.
Because that's how we roll. We get ahead of or behind. And we did our episode on the anniversary of Dynasty a couple of weeks ago. So today, we've done an episode, I think, on Unmasked before, or at least talked quite substantially about repackaging it. So we're not going to go into any of that stuff when we talk about it, but I do want to recap, the choice of singles, because that's a good starting point for any of these shows, regardless of what we've said before. What do we think today? Lonnie, Shandy followed by Tomorrow. Are those what you would have done, or in hindsight would have been better to do something else?
I would have went with one of those Ace songs. I don't think that they... Shandy's fine. Shandy's fine as a single. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's not my favorite. But it's fine as a single. But I would have gone with Talk to Me as the second single off the album, just for a couple of reasons. One, because I think it's a great song. And two, I think that they really should have done what they could have to keep Ace as happy as possible at that point. You had already lost one original. You had already lost one member. You were a band in transition. Hey, let's not lose another one. Let's keep our lead guitar player happy and make his song the second single off the album. I don't have a problem with Shandy being the lead single. You guys might have different opinions on that. It's fine. But I think Talk to Me should have been the second.
For those listening to this episode, Ken just held up a beautiful Mexican splatter vinyl of Unmasked, which used to be one of the kind of really, really rare things that had a hefty price premium on it. It's dropped in the internet age because more of them are available now as people travel back and forth between the two countries. But note to sound or vision. That's how you do vinyl, guys. They couldn't even get a marble swirl right, but that multicolor and some of the variations on that, absolutely stunning. I almost regret getting rid of mine because in kind of a backlit frame, it just looks badass. So good points on the singles, Lonnie. Mark, what's your take on those?
Well, I think Tomorrow is a good single. I always thought it was a...
We'll wait for Mark to come back. We lost you there.
Oh, am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
Okay.
Continue.
I was going to say that I agree with Lonnie that I think that Talk to Me should have been a single. I think it's probably one of the best songs on the record, probably one of Ace's better songs that he's written. So I think that it should have been the single. Whether I highly doubt they would have let it be the first one. You know how it is. Paul would have to for sure be the first one, right? But I think that it would have been good to put that in. It's a really rockin' song. It would have maybe give the album more the appearance of it being more rock and rollish than it actually is. But I think it's a great song. I think that it definitely should have been the single over Shandy.
Yep, good thoughts on that, Ken.
Well, the previous album, Dynasty, of course, had I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Know Something. And to me, I think they needed to go in a different direction, and first of all, not release Shandy as a leadoff single. If anything, that should have been like a third single if the album was doing well, kind of like a Beth situation, Destroyer. But I think Tomorrow should have been the leadoff single because that's just one of the catchiest there. I mean, it's just a fantastic song, and it kind of fits in with the music that was going on, during that time period. But as a second single, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably do something like Talk to Me, like you guys were talking about, because Ace was kind of hot, obviously, a couple of years earlier with his solo album. So, and it's a good song. So, yeah, I'd start off again with Tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I hate Shandy so much that I really think it should have been on a B-side, and if it got picked up, like Beth, I agree with that sentiment, then it could have been flipped to an A-side, or, just been what it was. I always liked the UK went with Talk to Me and What Makes the World Go Round. I think France also did the same. Talk to Me, of course, was a minor hit in Australia, Germany, France, and Switzerland. So, I mean, that kind of indicates. But they went, they were going for AOR. Their feedback to the listening parties that they had was that Shandy was the standout track because it was so different than anything they'd done previously. But again, I hate it. And I firmly believe that Tomorrow could have bridged that gap, much more, as could have Easy as It Seems, which was kind of a transition between AOR and disco. You just imagine Paul at Studio 54 in, 1980 as disco waned and pop rock, kind of kept a dance beat to it, kind of might have worked, but, taking Shandy out of the equation, Tomorrow definitely should have been the leadoff single. They should never have led off with something so wimpy and syrupy and watered down, which is about as, that was even further away from Beth, completely, lacking the band. So, all right, let's just jump straight into our 11-song countdown from worst to favoritist, and kind of go from there. So, as usual, and I always give a shout out to my buddies at the Lipstick Panel, who just did a very long show with them this past weekend, which should be up very soon, and you can just find out from them. So people who complain about us borrowing this methodology, there aren't that many ways to skin a cat when it comes time to figure out an overall order of our favorites. So, it is rocket science. It's the best way I've seen anyone come up to do it. And so we're going to borrow it, and we're going to give them a shout out whether you like their podcast or not. If you're wondering who the hell they are, go and give them a listen. They do a lot of stuff, not just Kiss. They seem to have a boner for Billy Corgan, and who I can't fucking stand. So I need to catch up on some of those episodes and see if I learn anything new. All right, so our panel's ranking for Unmasked, starting in 11th position. We hate this song. It's nearly universal, with one standout person sticking out like a sore thumb for not having it as his least favorite song on the album. Managed to muster a grand total of 5 points. So it was our least favorite for 3 and second least favorite for Lonnie. Tell us about You're All That I Want, or You're All That I Don't Want in this case.
It's not very good. But it was my second to least favorite song on the album. I rarely ever listen to the studio version of the song. If I listen to the song at all, I listen to the version on the box set, which I know Julian has said many times that he doesn't like that at all either. But I halfway enjoy that version that's on the box set. I halfway enjoy the demo versions. It's a lot less watered down and much more raw than what appears on the album. What's on the album is really pretty bad. So, and I can see why you guys put it as the worst one. And the only reason I didn't put it as the worst one is because I do like that demo version that appears on the box set. So it's hard for me to say it's the worst song. So that's why I got second to last instead of last for me.
Yeah, and apparently there's something that you hate even more than this, which is
it's
pretty dire by most fans' measurements of any of the songs. All right, Mark, give us your thoughts on "You're All That I Want."
Well, I agree. It's terrible, absolutely atrocious. And it's confusing to me in one way, because here we have Gene Simmons always, mocking Paul with his songs and has his lyrics, and now we have a Gene Simmons song that's just equally sappy in lyrics. So, I mean, I don't know what he was thinking to kind of, write that kind of a sappy song. It's very un-Gene-like to write something like that, Instead of, "You're all that I want," I thought with his mentality, it should have been, "I'm all that you want," not you,
Yeah.
So, I think it's pretty bad. I mean, I agree that the box set version that they did later on is better, but not by much. But it is more listenable. I think that the production of this record doesn't help this song at all, and I just think it's really weak. I think it is actually situated in the track listing perfectly at the very end. So if you don't want to listen to it, you're already done the record. You just turn it off, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a quote actually, and it was John Lennon insulting Paul McCartney for kind of writing the poppy songs that what was it, Muzak or something like that.
Right.
And this just strikes me as being one of those kind of insults that Paul could have leveled at Gene for trying to do the same thing. So, Voice of Reason, what's your thoughts on "You're All That I Want"?
Okay. I agree with Lonnie about the box set is a better version. I still don't know if it would have moved it up in the list. The problem with this song is the chorus. The verses are actually fine, and you're kind of expecting something to happen better in the chorus, but it just doesn't. It's just flat and just rudimentary kind of
unimaginable.
Yeah, and I hate to do that. So, put this on the bottom for Gene. It's just, but it's the way it is. This song is just not one of his better written songs. And I think "You're All That I Want" is dedicated to Cher, probably. So anyway,
doesn't make it any better.
It still doesn't make it any better, but
nothing can make this song any better. I listened to the album like 5 times in preparation for doing this show, and
wow,
I skip this one every time. It's like skip. I hate it. I just don't like it. Don't like the demo. I can't find anything redeeming to say about it other than. No, I can't find anything redeeming to say about it whatsoever. I can't believe they performed it live, instead of some of the better material on this album, in my opinion. But it is just one of those songs that I actually dislike it more than "Nothing Can Keep Me From You," or "Read My Body," or "Let's Put the Axe." I mean, it is literally at the bottom of my list of Kiss songs. If we were going to go through every single album, every single studio song, I would be starting with this one more than likely. So,
wow.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the next one, which this is like a dagger in my heart because I could not be further away from the rest of you guys, and it only scored 15 points because I actually like it and the rest of you don't. So, in 10th place on 15 points, and just look at the difference. We went from 5 points in the last spot and up by 10. That's how much we hate "You're All That I Want." 15 points, easy as it seems, and I love this song. So I'm just going to get the happy stuff out of my system right now. I love the beat. I love the vibe, the bass line, which I believe is Paul. And again, I just see Paul Stanley in Studio 54 in 1980 saying, well, I can't do "I Was Made for Loving You" again. Oh, okay. This is very danceable, and coming up with the same sort of thing that he was trying to capture with "I Was Made for Loving You." So almost disco rock. again, but just being in a disco or somewhere to dance, listening to danceable music in 1980. So I've always loved this song. It's always been a standout for me, is to this day. I was swerving in my lane while driving, listening to this today. So let's see, who hates it the most, Lonnie?
It is me. It is my least favorite song on the album. It's, like Julian said, it's too disco-y. He's trying too hard to be disco-y again. And it's everything that I don't like about I Was Made for Loving You, just amplified, is what this song is. It's exactly what Julian said. Well, I had a hit with I Was Made for Loving You, so how about I write this? And no, it totally is off the mark, and it's absolutely dreadful. And it would be near the bottom of my list if I was doing a list of all-time least favorite Kiss songs.
Wow.
I really don't like it at all. Apparently, I'm in the minority of this because the rest of you guys had
not much higher. But...
not much higher, but the rest of you,
it's only me.
The rest of you had all
outlier.
that I want. No, and not much higher. I mean, but it just doesn't do it for me at all. And I'm very similar to Julian, the fact that if this comes on, I hit skip when this comes on. Like, what's next? What else can I listen to? Like, just don't care for it whatsoever.
See, Mark and Ken agreed to one another. They had this third from bottom each. Mm-hmm. So, Ken, lead us off with your thoughts about this song and why it's not that, doesn't resonate with you.
It's just down and lower on the list. I mean, really, the rest of the songs that are above You're All That I Want they're all pretty good songs in their own way. They're not horrible songs as far as I'm concerned. Easy As It Seems, actually, when I first listened to the album, I remember liking it more. I liked it more than I did, than I do now. But it's still a pretty good song. It just has to fall below these other songs that are above it because the other songs are just a little better. And though Lonnie had a point about he's trying too hard a little bit on that, and again, I think Paul Stanley does almost a falsetto voice in almost every song on this album. Maybe not Shandy, I don't know, but he did one of those things on Easy As It Seems. Is like you don't need to do that. It's just sing it straight. This is not the Bee Gees or whatever. So it just is what it is. But it's not a bad song. I still think I don't skip it, so it's okay.
Never know. It might turn up on Paul's Soul Station album. All right. So, Mark, your thoughts on Easy As It Seems?
Well, I think a lot of the comments that were made I agree with. I mean, I think it's pretty weak. I think like Lonnie said, Paul's trying to take the things that were, successful in his mind about I Was Made for Loving You and tried to put it into this song and then kind of ramp it up a bit, and it just ends up falling flat, I think. It's not overly catchy to me. And I mean, Paul usually has catchy material. And the thing that I also find that's interesting about this, what Ken brought up, is that this song is not a bad song, but it's a song that isn't as good as the rest of them. So it's not a case so much of the fact that it's a terrible song, but it's just that the rest of the songs above it are much stronger. In fact, I'll go as far as to say if the last three songs, You're All That I Want, this one, and one of the other ones that I selected were cut from this record, and if it was only left as an 8-song record, I think the record would be far stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it would have helped at all, Kiss in 1980, but there we go. All right, so in ninth place actually we have a tie in ninth place. So I think on this one, let's do a tiebreaker. 1, 2, 3. All right, Gene. All right, so ninth place on 16 points, She's So European. Mark, let's go straight back to you since you like this the least of us.
Okay, this is a song that's always kind of bothered me. The very first time I saw this record and I saw that title, right away it's kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. I was like, She's So European. It just seemed like a very odd title. And when I saw, when I heard the song and those keyboards came out, I was like, wow, okay, this was something that really didn't strike me well, especially for a Gene song, because I know Gene always kind of, makes himself look out like the demon, the hard hitting aggressive songs. And then when you have these like sappy keyboards playing in the background there, I was like, wow, this is not a Gene song, in my opinion. I mean, he's even said it himself in the, those audio commentaries that he's done, that, at that point he thought that anything that he wrote should have been recorded and released. And, looking back at it, he thought it was complete lunacy that they actually recorded this song. And I agree with him. This should not have been recorded for this record. It's crap.
Well, you agree with Paul Stanley. That's what he said about this album. Basically that it's crap. That a lot of these songs, started off with balls, and then when they recorded them, they lost that in the translation from demo or from idea into fully recorded. I like the next least to you. And I think once I get over kind of like being happy that the Gene Simmons band did this, I go straight back to it having nothing to do with Kiss's demographic whatsoever. Pink Champagne, Brass Beds, Saint-Tropez. What the fuck? It's so pretentious. I mean, it's nearly as bad as, Paul's current name dropping in interviews. I mean, it's like Gene trying to be all, like he'd ever been to San Marino or anywhere like that. It has nothing to do with Kiss. So he'd obviously started dating Diana Ross by then, by the time he wrote this. But the demo on the Vault is way better. So there we go. Lonnie.
Not a fan. I think I probably had my fourth least favorite. Probably had it a little bit higher than you guys. As much as I sung this album's praises last week when we talked about 80s albums, I really liked it. There are some definite throwaways on the album that bring it down, and this is still one of them. It's like Julian said, that it's not Kiss at all with Gene. It's some you almost have to remind yourself sometimes that Gene sings this and not Paul, by the lyrics that are in it. You don't picture the big bad demon singing about pink champagnes and brass beds because her parents are still away. You know what I mean? It's like, really, dude? I mean, a couple years ago from this, you were singing Christine 16, I Gotta Have You. But now we're singing about, I don't know, what happened. And I guess it's true about what happened to Kiss then from 77 to 80. So, that all being said, it's not very good. And I had it fourth from the bottom of my list, and the bottom four for me are pretty easy to put down at the bottom. And I think it got harder as I went to rank these songs from favorites on up, because there are some pretty good throwaways in my opinion. This is one of them, and like Mark said, it probably should have been left off.
Yeah, so I oops there, and the demo didn't turn up on the Vault.
Uh-oh. Julian's a hoarder.
Ken, you like this the most out of all of those.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's number 5. I've always liked the song. Actually, I've always liked the song. Even though it's not the, demon singing. And even his vocals are not demon anyway on this album. But I've always enjoyed it. And you know what? It was, again, another song fully realized live. It comes off better live on the Gene Simmons band. So it worked. I always liked it. I don't know. Maybe it's a little corny stuff, but I always enjoyed it. Now, on your other comment about Paul hates this album and other albums, I'll tell you, he would have probably hated. I'll say I'm pretty sure that he would have hated Destroyer. Paul would have hated Destroyer had not Beth saved that record. If Beth wouldn't have became a hit, it would have tanked. The only albums that Paul likes are the ones that sold or the ones he produced. So I just think he wouldn't have liked Destroyer as much as if it would have tanked, I just don't think he would have. But anyway, that's just on another subject. But again, She's So European. I always liked it. It's number 5 on my list, though.
So maybe Paul's the original grumpy cat and should have worn Peter's. I hate it. I hate it. All right.
Grumpy cat died, by the way.
I know. Ran out of 9 lives. All right, so here we are, and I think we're up to the shocker. This was tied with She's So European on 16 points. In 8th place, Torpedo Girl. And I put Ace ahead of Gene on this simply because I think Ace's material on this album is on balance stronger than Gene's material on this album. And he had 3 songs. So Torpedo Girl. Let's see, who had this highest? Lonnie and me agreed. Ken, you hated it.
Why? Hated it.
Why you hate it? You have it at 10th position. I'd say that really is nearly as far away from liking it as you can
actually,
get.
I had it. Yeah, I was flip-flopping Easy as It Seems and Torpedo Girl. I actually had them flipped, and then I flipped them back. But yeah, Torpedo Girl is, it's okay. I mean, it's a cool riff, but it's just kind of, again, a goofy little song. I don't know what the heck it's about. This is Torpedo Girl. It leaves a lot to the imagination. But it just doesn't really fit with a lot of the other music on the album. It's just so off, different than the rest of it, the songs, and from his other songs. But again, it would fit better on a solo album, I think, than this being on Unmasked. So he could have maybe saved it or something. Anyway, it's still a good song. It's just, again, another one that falls below some of these other better songs.
Yep. I think he'd been hanging out with Crazy Joe Renda a little bit too much when he wrote this song, because obviously they wrote Eugene and then Ace, possibly Curly, and went off and wrote this one. Mark, you liked it the next least, so why?
Now, usually I think that at this time period, Ace has some pretty strong material. While this is not horrendous or anything, it's out of the 3 songs that he wrote on this record, I think this is the weakest one of the 3. The drum beat, I think, is interesting. It's obviously not a Peter Criss drum beat. That instantly is a giveaway right there. I've never heard Peter doing such a complicated beat as that before. And the bass line is interesting too. But again, I think the lyrics kind of knock it down for me. And I don't know, some of the riffs for the guitar playing wise could have been a bit better for it. I think that he wrote more stronger material on the other 2 songs than on this one. But it, again, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier though too, is that it's not necessarily that it's a bad song. It's just that the other songs ahead of it are much stronger, I think. So it's just a matter of that this kind of got there because I just couldn't justify putting them higher than the other ones.
Yeah, I really get the feeling this song is a result of Paul being on the phone to Ace saying, Ace, I really need you to write some more songs because Gene's stuff really sucks. Have you heard this song that he just bought from, John Montgomery? And he wants to do that. No, we got to have some real songs. So Ace says, oh, all right, Curly, and rewrites Rocket Ride, Torpedo Girl, Rocket Ride.
Yeah.
Torpedo Girl, Rocket Ride. The chorus, at least, is basically the same. But I'm biased. Having seen him done this live now on the cruise, I mean, we all went gaga for it then. And it may be juvenile, it may be stupid, but, what do I have this? 5th from bottom. So, yeah. Okay, Ken. Thought you were going to tell me I was on mute. I like it more than it shows up in position on my ranking, because once we get over the You're All That I Want and Shandy, everything else is, decent enough on the album for me.
Yeah.
So, Lonnie, Torpedo Girl.
I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not Ace's best track on the album, but it's certainly a fun song on the album. And I'm kind of with Julian. I saw him do it in a medley back when he toured in 2008, and really kind of lost my mind when he was doing that. Man, you freaking believe this? He's playing Torpedo Girl of all things. So, the song kind of skyrocketed in rankings, and at least in my mind, after I got to see him play it live. That it's a fun song. It's Ace. It's just Ace Frehley. It's a typical Ace Frehley song. It's just, I played it in my car. I played it in my car with my wife once. He's like, come on, get your feet wet, and she's like, oh, come on, that's just terrible. God, no, it's good. No, it's awful. God, it's good. But no, I love it. It's a fun song. Like I said, from here on up, I really like these songs from here on out. And this is just the start of it.
You know what? I think when you're home and able to record, we're going to have to play a bit of a song for Becky and get her instantaneous response to that song on the show.
That could be a good game on the show.
What?
Hopefully next week. I'm taking off tomorrow, so I had other extra shit I had to do.
Yeah, the segment. What does Becky think?
Great.
And she's only allowed to use 3 words.
That's even better.
All right.
Oh, that's going to be a new segment.
Turn it off.
All right. So hopefully I haven't forgotten anyone on this one, because I kind of lost track of where I was because I was surfing and checking my phone on that. All right. So we have a tie on 22 points for the next 2 songs. And since I just had Ace over Gene on that last tie, I think we'll have Ace over Paul on this one. So in 7th place on 22 points, Shandy. I've already said how much I hate Shandy. And I think we really need to go to Lonnie, who likes it.
Yeah, you need to go to me. I probably had it the highest out of all you guys, judging from what you guys said about the singles. I had it. What, I have it like 3rd on my list? Third from the top? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I did. I had 3rd from the top.
You're a Shandy fanboy, so tell us why.
I am. I enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what? To each their own. I enjoy the song. It's different. It's certainly different. And you guys, and Julian, you said that earlier, that it's so different from anything they did. And I guess that's why that's why they chose it to be the single, because it is so different. And I think that's what they were looking for in 1980, was something different, because I don't know. I guess of the songs that they had to choose from too, they were looking for something just different. And Shandy is definitely a standout if you're looking for that category. I enjoy it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's a fun song, to be honest with you. You guys are going to disagree. Julian's going to tell me that I'm not allowed on the show anymore. But I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
Never. You're critical to this show. Let me just put it this way, and Mark, no offense whatsoever, or any of our Canadian listeners. If you remember me talking about Canadians when I went to Edmonton for a show, or to Vancouver, Canadians are so goddamn nice that when I came back to the States, I just wanted to punch someone because they've been so nice everywhere. Shandy's like that to me. Shandy, of course, is also a British drink. And in British drinking culture, you drink bitter or stout, and you're a man. You drink scotch, and or you're a pussy, and you drink shandy, which is lager mixed with lemonade. It's kind of a summer drink. It is complete. I mean, if a man orders a shandy, well, he's obviously a Morris dancer. There's no 2 ways about it. So having that title is just not a good thing. And the song pretty much sums up everything I just said about that god-awful drink. But, Mark, since I just dissed Canada, sorry.
Well, I understand the reasoning behind it. But I think that Shandy is a song that I don't hate as much as maybe I should. Mainly because I think it just, in my own experience, it was never overplayed as much. Like in my house, Beth was played a lot, and Lick It Up was played a lot, but Shandy never was. I mean, even though we did have the album in the house since it came out because of my older sister, it was just not a song that she connected to very much. Therefore, it was not played a lot in the house back in the earlier days. When I had the record myself on CD in my car, it was a song that I left because it was second song on the record, so it was kind of a matter of when I was in the car listening to it. I always had friends in the car and we were talking, and next thing I know, the song was done. So half the time I never even caught it whenever I was listening to the CD, so it kind of passed by rather quickly. It is an attempt at a single, obviously. The only strike to it, in my opinion, and also the thing that I think that makes it interesting, is that it's not really a Kiss song, because Paul Stanley's the only one on there who plays on it. You know, there's no Peter on there. There's no Gene playing bass. You know, there's no Ace playing leads on it. It's really just like a Paul song that he had session people help him with, and ended up being a song that they all thought was very different. And there's your reasoning for why it's so different, because it's just Paul and a bunch of people who are not in the band. So, me, I think the main reason why it is you guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, for what I was saying about it, it's just too damn happy. And unlike Beth, which is different, it just it doesn't do anything for me. Ken, your thoughts on Shandy?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing as Mark. It's a good song, but it's not a good Kiss song. It's not a typical Kiss song. It's not even like a Hard Luck Woman. I mean, it's just different. Again, yeah, Paul is the only Kiss member playing on it, and maybe he did that purposely because he probably thought he was going to get rejected by Gene and Ace. And he kind of like snuck that one in there while they were out of the studio or something like that. Just to get it in there, because it's kind of a sappy song for him, really. Though it did well, I think, in Australia or whatever, which is fine. But it's not a bad song. It's just not a great Kiss song. That's all there is to it.
Yep. Fair enough. All right, so this was also tied on 22 points, and again, because I think Ace's contributions are greater than Gene's, and in this case it's greater than Shandy. In sixth place on 22 points, Two Sides of the Coin. And again, this is a song we all went gaga for on the cruise when Ace's band ripped it out, and it was a train wreck, but we still enjoyed the living daylights out of it. And I think a little bit like Torpedo Girl, which is really tough to play live. This one's much easier, much more of a straight-ahead rock song. I have this, it's in the top half of my picks for the album. Always have liked it. But what makes it be, I think what did I rank it? 7th from bottom. So it's just the lyrics. I think he really needed a bit more help on the lyrics on this song, because musically it's a strong track. It's a good Ace track from that perspective. There are parts of it lyrically that are good, but there are also parts that are just... I always kind of shake my head. Really, that's all that you could come up to rhyme? Is that? So it feels a little bit, well, maybe it's Ace. Maybe it's just lazy. So it's a good song. It's not a powerhouse, but it's also not complete dross. Lonnie, what are your thoughts on Two Sides of the Coin?
I enjoy it. I think it's a fun song. Again, it's just an Ace really having fun type song more than anything else. I mean, he's just, I don't know. I hadn't heard the song a whole lot, or listened to it, I guess, a whole lot on Unmasked until Greatest Kiss came out in '97, and for some reason, Two Sides of the Coin is included on Greatest Kiss. I don't know why, and I think a lot of us were confused by that. Okay, and I found a new appreciation for it when that came out, and I was just listening to that album because we didn't have we didn't have as many Kiss compilations as we do now. So it's just another. I think it's just another. I love Ace singing in Kiss. I love Ace songs in Kiss, and this
Ken,
is one of them.
What are your thoughts on Two Sides of the Coin?
Yeah, it's a pretty good song. I had the same feelings about it, where it's the lyrics are really, I mean, really rudimentary rhyming and lyrics. That's the only thing that holds it back. Otherwise, again, like you said, Julian, music is good. It's good. It kicks in, and once it goes into the chorus, it's really, catchy tune. So again, it's just the lyrics. It's still a good song, but it's Ace. So you kind of expect it.
Mark, did I get your thoughts with all those
No.
kind of things? So lead us out. Last comments on Two Sides of the Coin.
Well, again, I think the problem with this is the lyrics. But what I really like about this song and Talk to Me is that Ace has introduced us to, well, for Kiss songs at least, he's introduced us to the open G tuning for this stuff. So that's a very Rolling Stones type of tuning to use, hence why it sounds so Rolling Stone-ish, this song and Talk to Me. And I really like it. I think it's very catchy. It gives it a really kind of cool rock vibe to it. And, it's one of those songs that as a guitar player, I kind of loved learning to play because it gave me some new challenge, new tuning to figure out and, sit down and jam along with it. Once you get that tuning, you realize that it's not an overly complicated song to play, but it's a fun song to play. And that's one thing that Ace can do well is write really catchy, fun tunes to play. So that's why I think I placed it so high. If the lyrics were a bit stronger, I think I probably would have put it even higher.
Yep. All right. So Mark gets satisfaction from Two Sides of the Coin.
All
right.
right.
There's no more ties now as we move into the top 5. In 5th place on 24 points, What Makes the World Go Round. Lonnie, I believe you have this one ranked the lowest. Why?
I got it pretty low to the bottom. For a lot of the reasons that I have, easy as it seems near the bottom. I mean, to me, it's just a matter of trying too hard and trying to have too poppy of a song. And the song is really just kind of neutered to me. There's not much to it. It's very flat and boring, in my opinion. It's a song I would have left off the album. And to be perfectly honest with you guys like it. I'm really more anxious to hear why you guys like the song more than anything else.
Well, I have it ranked the next lowest, and
Yeah.
why do I like the song? It had a great picture sleeve of Ace in England. As far as the song and the music goes, it's like the falsetto does not work. It's a hybrid between a straight ahead rock song and the higher pitched singing that would become a feature of much of the 1980s. So it's kind of the starting point for Paul going downhill to a certain extent, because when he was stratospheric, it's the same reason I hate Magic Touch. I just had a text during this. I actually I can't believe you hate Magic Touch. So I was just listening to the Dynasty. Well, I hate What Makes the World Go Round, much for the very similar reasons. So let's see, who was Mark and Ken were pretty similar in the rankings of this. Mark, you liked it a little bit less than Ken. So what are your thoughts on the song?
Well, again, I kind of understand Lonnie's position on it because I think they're very similar songs in Paul's thinking, like how he approached them. But this song, I think, in my opinion, is stronger. It doesn't have as many points in it that make me go ugh when I listen to it. I think the lyrics are better in this song. The chorus is better, I think, overall, and that to me is the most important thing. I think that the chorus in What Makes the World Go Round is much better than Easy As It Seems. Easy As It Seems is a little too bordering on disco for me. That this one seems a little less, and I just think that I don't know, I think just Paul's writing in this song is a bit stronger than the other ones, and I think that as far as what they were attempting to do for this record, I think he hit the mark a little bit more with this song.
Fair enough. Ken, you and you're pretty close to that.
My list, but surprisingly to myself, I ranked it that high because I don't think I ever liked it that much in the past. But today, or when I was listening to the album, I really enjoyed it. today more than I thought I would. I liked it better than I felt, from the past. So it's a pretty good song. It's not your typical Paul song, but yeah, he's doing the falsetto thing in there, which I don't think he needed to keep doing in a lot of these songs on this album. Yeah, it worked on "I Was Made for Loving You," but you should stop there and just leave it and don't do it anymore. It's not needed. So it's a pretty good song. That's why I ranked it up that high. And again, a lot of these songs, I could see them switching places from day to day because they're all pretty darn good. And some days I may feel in a different mood and like this song better than the next song. So
that's why these podcasts will never get old, because every time you do a ranking,
it'll be different.
It's bound to be different again. I think What Makes the World Go Round is a great lyric. It's a great idea for a song. Again, it's just the vocal that kind of detracts from me. All right, so we're now into the top 4, and this one's skewed because I ranked this one way higher than the rest of you. You're obviously on the same page in that it's in the second third of your picks on this album. So, in 4th place on 32 points, Is That You? And I'll just get my thoughts on this one out of the way first. From the moment I heard this song, first song on the album, I loved it. It was like a great opening track. It was rock. It was, just the sort of rock that I liked at the time. I like it to this day. I like the live versions. I like the missing verse that wasn't included on Kiss's version that Jared McMahon included on his demo. And that's all it is. It's a great rock song on an otherwise not very rock album overall. So let's see. Lonnie, let's start with you on this one.
I enjoyed it. I think it's a great lead track to kick off an album. I like the way the chorus echoes one another with Paul saying "Is that you?" and they say "Is that you?" back to him. I think it's a fun song, and it's one of the heavier songs on the album too, that actually isn't so neutered like a lot of the other songs that we've discussed. So it's a Paul song, lead track off the album. Makes sense that a heavier Paul song would lead off the album, and it's fun. It's more of a Kiss track, a quote unquote Kiss track, than a lot of the other songs on the record. You could hear this song on other records, whereas a lot of songs on this album, as good as they may be, you might not fit in on other Kiss records. Just the way they stand. I know we take certain songs on this record, we take I don't know, What Makes the World Go Round even, and make the guitars heavy or something, okay, yeah, and make fit in somewhere else. But if you take this song as it is and put it on another Kiss record, it's not gonna just stand out like a sore thumb. Like, what were they doing here? It doesn't make sense. This song is the most Kiss song on the album.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Without the production qualities that Ponce brought to the album, it could be a pretty rocking song. Mark, you agree to Lonnie in terms of your ranking. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, again, when I listened to this the very first time I heard it, because, when I first, started hanging with my buddies who were Kiss, like big Kiss fans, they were always telling me to, watch out for this record, it's not that good. So, but when I got it and I put it on, I was immediately surprised, because it's such a heavy song for this record. It kicks out really strong. And I mean, I'm listening to it in the car and I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. The chord progressions are really cool. And the only time when I started going, no, is when they go into the pre-chorus, you always get when they started doing all that stuff. I'm like, oh no, don't, please, But then once they got out of that and they go into the chorus, I was like, okay, we're back into safe territory again. So I think that's a really good song. It's a strong opener, but the only negative I can say about it is that because it's so good, the next song is a kind of like a kick in the nards. You listen to Shandy right after this, it's like, oh no, now I know what they're talking about, like when they talk about to beware of this record, right? But I think this song is really good, and it's one of those songs. And I'll be honest, when I was thinking about doing a Kiss cover for my record stuff, I was actually considering doing this song because I really, really like this song. So never know, maybe in the future.
Yeah, I think possibly this is one of the worst track sequences on any Kiss album. Is that you into Shandy? You're up, 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 down. It's just, and here's the funny part for me. It's ironic that I just bagged on What Makes the World Go Round for the exact same reasons that I like, Is That You? I don't like the high parts of World Goes Round, but I don't have a problem with it in Is That You? So very weird. Ken, you're completely middle of the road on this song.
Yeah. I always thought it didn't sound like Kiss. I mean, when I first put on the record, I'd like, this doesn't sound like a typical Kiss song to me. Though they made it their own song and did a great job on it. It stuck out to me like a sore thumb on this album as being completely different from the rest of the album. Just like Shandy too, in a way, both of those songs. But having said that, it's still a good tune, and I guess like I said, they made it their own. But it never to me felt like it was a Kiss written song, and it wasn't. I just couldn't see them writing that type of song, and it's just the way I felt about it. But it's still pretty high on the list. It still does okay for me.
Yep. All right, here we are. We're into the top three, and in third place on 34 points, Talk to Me. Lonnie, you, I guess you kind of like this song.
I do. It's my favorite song on the record. I can't believe that you guys. I guess I'm the only one that has it ranked number one, but I enjoy it thoroughly. I said at the start of the show I would have had it as a single off the album. I think he would have done well for Ace and done well for the band. I'm not saying it would have turned the album into a hit record, but I think it would have kept Ace happier for a longer duration amount of time had you gave more praise to his standout track on the album. I think the songwriting is great by Ace. It's one of his more well-written songs. We talked about Torpedo Girl, and we talked about Two Sides of the Coin. They're fun Ace songs, but this song's actually really, really good. And you could see someone else singing this song, not just like an Ace Frehley fun track. It's a standout song on the record, and it's a shame to me that it didn't get more love than it received. It's hands down my favorite song on the album.
All right, Mark also likes it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a definite standout on the record. I think he wrote really well on this. The outro chorus on this is fantastic. I love the way the song ends in this. Like, I mean, it's such a well-written ending to this song, and even the guitar solo section is really well thought out. Like, everything in this song is well thought out. The verse works really well. The choruses are really strong. The drumming is fantastic in this song. I mean, definitely not Peter Criss style at all. Like, those tom fills and stuff are just fantastic that Anton does in this song. And it definitely kicks it up a level or two because of that. The drumming just really gives it that push that it sorely needs, right? And it's a great song. I mean, I think that this one should always be put on any sort of best of album that Kiss does.
Ken, you also kind of like this one. It's in third spot for you.
Yeah, it's Ace's best song on the album. It's real catchy. Dedicated to Tom Snyder, I think. But it's just a cool tune. It's something that could have been on his 78, maybe a leftover from a solo album. It's that good. I think it would fit in on that album. But I agree, it's a well written song, great guitar solo, and just a cool tune. That's why it's up there so high.
Yeah, oddly, I don't like this song at all.
Wow.
I have it in 8th, My 8th favorite
Really?
song. Yeah.
Wow.
I really have never liked this song, and you know what? It's going to sound funny to say this about any Kiss song. The lyrics are just so bad on this. All I want's a little conversation. Come on. That is just so saccharine and safe, and so what was wrong with the band in 1980. Talk to me. I just want to talk to you. No, this is Kiss. They don't want to talk to you. They want to bang you and shoot you down with their love guns, baby. You make me dizzy. I get a good vibration. Oh, fuck off. 14-year-old me didn't like it. Much far away from 14-year-old me still doesn't like it. So, sorry, Ace. All I will say that it was badass when they did it in 2001. Or whenever they threw it into the Kiss set, which was kind of cool. But no. That's way too many Crazy Nights references in one episode. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right, moving on quickly to number 2 on 38 points, Naked City. What else can you say?
Wow.
2 of you had this as your favorite songs on the album. I had it in 3rd, and Lonnie had it middle of the road, so all very positive. Mark, let's start with you as it being your favorite song.
Hands down, the best Gene song he's done in a long time at that point. What I love about this song is very simple. It's more thought out, I think, than any other Gene song, and that has probably to do with the fact that there's also multiple writers on this that probably helped. Bob Kulick and those guys probably definitely helped with a lot of these cool guitar riffs that were in there. And I think it has some of Gene's best vocals. I think he sings really good on this song. And the one thing that stands out on this that I really love, and every time this song comes up, I always crank up my stereo, is it has Gene's best bass guitar sound since Creatures will duplicate it later, but that bass guitar sound is fantastic. It sounds to me like a Spectre bass with some nice active EMG pickups in there or something, because it really has that really crunchy sound that he gets from that bass guitar. And I really, really love that bass sound. And it's not just some dumb bass line either. It's some actual movement in it. There's some melodicness to it too. So I think it's brilliant. I think it's a gem in the Gene Simmons catalog, and we know there's not many of those.
Yeah, it's really tricky to play on the bass. But, all right, let's go to Lonnie. You have this middle of the road in your selections.
No, it's good. We've talked about Unmasked recently, and I was actually surprised how much love you guys had for Naked City. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I knew Mark had said earlier that it was, one of his, if not his favorite song off the record. So I was kind of surprised by that, but I enjoy it, absolutely. And you're right, it's by far the best thing Gene had put out at that point in quite a while. Going back to Love Gun, really, at that point. I mean, you really have to. I mean, I like Charisma. I know Ken's a big Charisma guy, but I think it's the best thing he's put out, going back to Plaster Cast or Christine 16 or something like that. So it's good, it's a good Gene song, and it's a Gene song that you could hear on other records besides this one, that it could fit in nicely other places in the catalog. It's a good Kiss song, is what I mean when I say it would fit in good on other records. So is definitely the bass on it, like you guys referenced, is really different and kind of tricky, but that's what part of it makes the song a lot of fun. So definitely a good track.
Excellent. And this is another one of the songs that I hope the demo eventually circulates, because of course Bob Kulick said that Ace ruined the song. And I want to know how the demo is different than what Ace did. There's a shock. Bob didn't like what Ace did. All right. Ken, this is also your favorite track on the album. Why?
Yeah, my favorite by far. I totally agree with Mark about the song. It is one of Gene's, best songs written in a while. I know, Charisma, Before that, Almost Human was, another one of my favorites from going back. But the deal with this song is his vocals are so freaking strong on it. And I don't know what it is. It's just I wish he could have just kept that kind of vocal style going forward, actually. Because it's really, really good. And then I also would have enjoyed, maybe him and Bob writing some more material together. I mean, that could be a potent combination there, maybe. So who knows what that could have been with those two. But again, a great song. Yeah, bass, I agree on the bass and so on. It's just a top-notch, one of Gene's all-time best songs.
Agree. I mean, Pepe Castro can't be, mitigated from the conversation either.
True.
Because I think he was in balance with Bob at the time. So, great song.
Right.
It's my third pick. I do think it's one of the very best Gene vocals throughout the whole recorded catalog. All right. So let's do a recap before we get to number one. Going from our this panel's ranking of the Unmasked album from least favorite to most favoritist is in 11th place, You're All That We Want. No, you're not. But Easy As It Seems, She's a European, Torpedo Girl, Shandy, Two Sides of the Coin. In 5th place, What Makes the World Go Round. 4th, Is That You. 3rd, Talk to Me. 2nd, Naked City. And obviously, our favorite song on the Unmasked album is the hit that never was, the song that should have been a hit, Tomorrow, which I just can't say enough good things about Tomorrow. It is pop perfection. It is songwriting that is just exquisite. It is so well balanced. It is well executed. It's well constructed. And it's probably the song on the album that fits the production the best. And that's just my thought. Mark, this is your third pick, so it's your least of all of his favorite song.
Yeah, but with that said, I think it's Paul's best song on this record for sure. Probably one of Paul's better songs for the last couple of records. And I'm just going to echo what you said pretty much, Julian. This is, pop perfection. Singing is fantastic on this. Everything about it fits. The production fits with it, which is rare because the production is kind of the part of this album that could have been improved. If it would have been improved, maybe some of the other songs would have sounded better. But this song benefits from this production. And I just think that it's a song that should have been on radio and played and embraced far more than it was. I mean, at this point, Kiss was, looked at like the plague on radio and with other people in the music industry. So even if it was, quietly amongst the people in the radio industry saying, this song is probably the best song I've heard in 10 years, they would never have dared admit it and have played it on radio just simply because of who Kiss were at that time in people's eyes. So it is a shame, because if this song would have came out maybe, I don't know, Love Gun era or something, or maybe in, the album before, maybe it would have gotten more traction, but it should have gotten far more traction than it did.
Yep. Ken, what are your thoughts on Tomorrow?
I agree with Mark. It should have definitely done better than it did, but part of the problem, I think, is just the sequencing of singles from the prior album to Unmasked. Shandy, what are you doing there? Don't release that as a single. I just think Tomorrow would have done better had Kiss released maybe I Was Made for Loving You as a later single, not as a lead-off single. I mean, once everyone thought, they went disco, boom, just a whole bunch of fans just dropped off at that point. And now you're going to go to Unmasked and it's just too late at that point. It's just, you're on your downward slope. and they're going to continue it for the next couple of years. So it's too bad. I mean, when I first got the album, that was my favorite song. When I first got that, I remember going back to that and listening to it over and over. I throw on side 2 and just play it over and over again. It's just a great, like you said, Julian, pop perfection. It is pop perfection. So it's a shame that people never got to hear it on the radio. It really is a shame.
Well, they did in Germany. It made it to number 70. So,
well, a little bit on
Wow.
the radio, I guess.
Lonnie.
I enjoy it. It's lyrically, it's fantastic. Musically, it's great. Like you said, it fits the style for what they were going for on this album. I love the build up to the chorus, how the verse builds up to the chorus, and the chorus is so strong. And even like the first time you even hear the song, you're almost singing along with it immediately. It's that catchy. And that being said, it's a shame that it didn't get more radio play because it is that catchy. It could have been a good radio hit. But echoing what Ken said, they set themselves up for failure because it goes back to I Was Made for Loving You being the lead single from Dynasty. And people thinking they sold out and the band went disco. And a lot of the diehard fans that follow them from, Alive and even before that, getting a little older and dropping off, seeing that their band that they loved early on when they weren't very big is now selling out. And the costumes with Dynasty didn't help either. Didn't help say that, they didn't help the argument that they didn't go disco and they came out with these big flashy flamboyant costumes. Didn't help the argument that, no, they haven't gone disco. Well, there's your Gene Dynasty action figure right there. So I think it all stems from that. I mean, look at that look. Look how different they look there as to what they looked like on the Alive 2 stage, just less than 2 years prior to that. They're a totally different looking band. And people, and like Paul said, people listen with their eyes more than they listen with their ears when he's talking about Creatures and Lick It Up. People see that image and they think, geez, what are they doing? What have they done? That's not my band. They don't even have to hear it. They see that and they think that's not the hardcore band that I have been supporting these years. They've sold out. I'm out. I'm into Judas Priest now and AC/DC, bands that were releasing very heavy albums at the time. So Tomorrow is going back to Tomorrow is a great song and it should have gotten more radio airplay. But I think that a chain of events set up to where it didn't stand a chance.
Fair enough. All right. Did I get everyone's thoughts on that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there we are. We all like Tomorrow. But then again, we've said that before, so that shouldn't be any surprise.
What about today?
Yesterday and today. Never liked them. All right, so that's it. What are your thoughts on, where do you rank all the songs on the album? What is your listing if you have one, or if nothing else, what is your least favorite and your most favorite on this album, knowing that you might change your mind tomorrow? Except in the case of You're All That I Want, which will never be anyone's favorite.
Yeah.
And if it is your favorite, do please tell us why. That I would actually like to hear. So, that was fun. Always good to go through these albums and do rankings as a panel and kind of figure out what a group does kind of think and feel about a song. And surprisingly, even though we've done so many podcasts together, we're all over the place on these. So you never know how they're going to balance out and where it's going to end. I think that's no real surprise that Tomorrow did. But there you go. All right, that's it for this week. We thank you for listening and hope that you'll subscribe to our channel, hit like or unlike or dislike or whatever. Leave us a comment wherever you are. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to our show, and hopefully we'll see or hear you next week. So bye for now.
Why?
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we've broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.